Hello and welcome. It's 8 a.m. here in New Delhi and I'm Charu Shankar. I'm Satya and you're watching WION Breakfast. And before moving forward with the show, here are the heads up this morning. Borneo loggers are exchanging their chainsaws for cheap healthcare. Bornean orangutans take classes to return to the wildlife. Government of Angola is battling poachers to preserve wildlife. Charu, it's a lovely morning.
Oh yes,
As
absolutely,
always.
absolutely.
And we want to start with counting our blessings. So tell me, what's the best thing that happened to you yesterday?
I think as it is on many days actually, meeting my dog when I get home from work. My dog Chikoo, we rescued her a few years ago from Friendico's and adopted her and brought her home, and she's been with us ever since. And the sheer joy in her eyes when she sees me come home, I mean, yeah, I think that's special every day.
I'm sure it must be very, very special. Well, as for me, I am a perfect victim of the demonetization move. But the upside is that I have been happily adopted by a lot of people.
Okay.
So, right from my maid to my gardener to just up to my car cleaner, everybody. So, yesterday, for instance, I was telling my gardener that, look, it's the end of the month, I have to pay your salary. But you know what? I don't have cash to pay you. So, you know what my gardener said? He said, you know what? Don't worry, pay to me later. And if you want cash, tell me, I have 2,000 rupees with me.
My God, how sweet.
How sweet is that? I'm telling you, life is wonderful.
Yeah, it really is. And in India's capital city, New Delhi, life, of course, does, we celebrate everything, including the 9th edition of the Pride Parade that was celebrated this year. Hundreds turned up in support of the LGBTQ community with many interesting slogans to match. Take a look at this report.
Namaste, happy Delhi Pride 2016.
Music, dancing and singing, all for a cause. The 9th Pride Parade in New Delhi brought together people under the rainbow-coloured banner. Lending their support for equal rights for the LGBT community, the bright colours bring focus to the grim state of affairs the community faces on a regular basis in India.
Working on LGBT rights, and this is probably my 7th Pride now. Of course, every year we see numbers going up, but every year we also see a growing range of issues. I'm one of the lawyers working in the Section 377 case, and that's one of the things that we're here fighting for.
I'm here for one of my favorite clients, Steve, so I'm here to support him. This one is for you, Steve.
I'm here to celebrate and participate in Delhi's Pride March for our human rights and to be liberated and to be protected and recognized for who we are.
Treated as a taboo subject, homosexuality is still a crime in the country as per Section 377 of the Indian Penal Code. India's LGBT community's fight for legal recognition began in 2001, and the battle has been a long-drawn one. After 8 years of hearings and various petitions, the Delhi High Court decriminalized homosexuality in 2009. The victory was short-lived as the Supreme Court of India reversed the judgment 5 years later. The Indian LGBT community's battle for recognition could potentially be significant for similar struggles in other nations in the South Asian region. Across the region, Nepal is the only country where the community enjoys significant legal protection.
India considers itself as a leader in South Asia, but when it comes to the right of LGBT individuals, it still lags behind neighbors such as Nepal. So what we're demanding is that we be given the very basic rights to dignity and respect.
A little further east, Taiwan is now set to become the first Asian country to legalize same-sex marriages. That bill is currently under discussion in the parliament there. Changes like this being considered in Taiwan and marches like these in Delhi are bound together by a common thread. The LGBT community's fight is for equal rights for all, regardless of their sexual identity. With the call growing louder with each passing year, hopefully the colours of pride will stand for justice and equality for all, as they were intended to. In New Delhi, Snik Bontial for WION.
Well, the Pride Parade there. I, for one, was a proud marcher a few years ago, Satya, and I would do it again. We spoke about this yesterday. We pulled it out of the papers.
That's right. And again, you know, celebrating life, celebrating everything that we are, celebrating life in its truest essence. It's like, just let us be. Over to Indonesia now, where Balinese women dance to rhythmic drumming while waving to fans as men sit cross-legged around them, jiggling their arms and chanting.
Now, it may appear to be just another show on the Indonesian resort island, but there is a key difference. The dancers are all deaf and cannot hear the beat. How do they do it? Let's take a look.
Bengkala, an Indonesian village with an unusually large number of deaf people. It's been like this for generations, and today 40 out of around 3,000 residents suffer from severe hearing problems.
Sedih melihatnya, tidak bisa bicara, tidak bisa mendengar.
He can't talk, he can't hear,
Karena saya
and he's my only son.
satu-satunya cowok.
Experts have found that the high prevalence of audio impairment is due to a recessive gene and not a curse, as thought by some villagers.
The problem is the emotions. The deaf tend to be more aggressive. Sometimes they cannot control their emotions.
Unlike other parts of the country where they could face discrimination, these deaf residents have won over the entire village. An elementary school now teaches kata kolok, a local sign language, to all children, deaf or not.
Human rights are the same everywhere. So why should the deaf be ostracized?
Far from the tourist resorts in southern Bali, this traditional performance is slowly bringing attention to Bengkala. Without being able to hear a beat, these dancers have memorized their moves.
Tourists from China and Europe are coming here to watch us, and they really enjoy it.
Deaf people have been largely sidelined and ignored for years in Indonesia, but thanks to this community's effort, calls for a change in attitude may one day be heard by all.
Well, disability there in Indonesia and empowerment going out there to everybody who has been suffering under this.
Yes, and what a touching story. Very, very nice story. Going deeper into the jungles of Indonesia now, many loggers are hanging up their chainsaws in return for affordable healthcare. The credit goes to a community incentive scheme that aims to save lives and Borneo's fragile rainforests. Here's a report.
Vast and pristine, this rainforest in Indonesian Borneo is on its way back. Once, the sound of chainsaws filled the air, when logging was the mainstay of the local economy.
The people said that one of the main reasons that they were logging was in order to pay for health care. And I could really see the connection between a healthy forest and healthy people.
A scheme set up by this Indonesian charity now rewards villagers who hang up their chainsaws with cheap healthcare. Since the project took off in 2007, the number of logging households has fallen from nearly 1,400 to just 180.
I think of the future now as I have children. If we continue cutting all the trees, one day they won't know what a tree is anymore.
Villagers who stop felling trees entirely are granted a 70% reduction on the cost of medical treatment. Those who are less committed receive smaller discounts. And there's also a solution for people who still cannot meet their reduced bills.
The villagers who can't pay for treatment with money can pay with tree seeds.
The saplings are then nursed here before being replanted.
We feel like this is win-win-win. You know, the forest is protected, people are healthier, and they're doing better economically.
A new hospital will provide villagers with fully equipped medical facilities for the first time in their lives. Indonesia has lost more than 6 million hectares of rainforest since 2000, and while initiatives like this one may be small, they could help stem the tide and usher in a greener future.
Well, Satya, I think deforestation really is one of the major issues that the modern world is facing today.
I agree. And rainforests, I think in that context, just kind of holds the ecological balance in place.
Yes, absolutely.
On that happy note, let's slip into a very short break, but come right back because you're still with us on WION Breakfast.
Welcome back. You're watching WION Breakfast and onwards to the world stories now. Satya, if I say the term jungle school to you, what comes to mind?
A school in the jungle. Oh, that would be nice.
Well, it is nice. I think it would be nice for us human beings. But for the first time in history, Indonesia is educating critically endangered Bornean orangutans on how to run wild in a jungle school.
Oh, wow.
Yes, yes, take a look.
Budi and Jos are off to school. This rescue center in the heart of Indonesian Borneo is teaching these young orphaned orangutans to socialize and fend for themselves. It is stepping in for their mothers killed by hunters and the decimation of the rainforests they once lived in.
The orangutans arrive here in a variety of bad conditions, ranging from severe bullet wounds to malnutrition.
Borneo's orangutan population has been reduced by 2/3 since the 1970s. And in July, this species was declared critically endangered.
There's a very real risk of Bornean orangutans becoming extinct in the wild as a functioning species, as a part of the ecosystem within a few decades, so it's very concerning.
One of the biggest threats facing the apes is land clearing for paper and palm oil plantations. Last year alone, slash and burn fires tore through 2.6 million hectares of pristine rainforest.
In terms of rehabilitation, the biggest issue for us is finding secure habitat in which to release these orangutans.
Under international pressure, the Indonesian government has promised action, handing out large fines to corporations and proposing new restrictions on industry.
Sehingga kami sekarang ini kawasan konservasi.
We cannot afford to not safeguard our conservation areas. All land with high conservation value must be closely monitored.
The rescued apes will only return to the wild once they can build nests, find food, and avoid predators. Ambassadors for a rapidly disappearing ecosystem whose struggle for survival has only just begun.
Well, I must say, Satya, human effort can go a long, long way in saving these beautiful, beautiful animals from going into extinction. And I want to remind you about the panda being taken off the endangered species list now. It was practically extinct.
That's
and
right.
then there was this tremendous effort made across the globe to save the panda. And not only did they manage to make sure that it didn't go extinct, but now it's off the endangered species list. It is no longer endangered. And yeah,
That's
it's such a
very
happy
reassuring.
story. Very, very reassuring story.
Well, more good news for the animal lovers. Angola is waking up to the importance of their wildlife heritage. Wildlife rangers are battling poachers who are threatening a fragile recovery of the country's wildlife, which was decimated during the war.
The government of Angola is seeing wildlife as a potential tourism draw and has vowed to revive wild animal population. Here's the report on how Angola is fighting off poachers and ivory traffickers in favor of a dense wildlife population.
Training to fight poachers in Angola's vast and dangerous interior. Among these rangers are former soldiers who fought in the civil war that ravaged the country from 1975 to 2002. Now they battle illegal hunting that threatens the fragile recovery of Angola's wildlife.
After peace, then I was demobilized. I'm a ranger, as we call it, a nature soldier.
Elephants were routinely shot from helicopters during the civil war to finance the conflict through ivory sales. Now Angola's government has vowed to revive wild animal numbers by ending poaching and ivory trafficking. Authorities say they want to create a wildlife park in the Okavango region, which will rival Africa's biggest reserves.
This area is the least sampled landscape on the planet for botanical diversity and biodiversity. So we have discovered almost 20 species that are currently under assessment. These are reptiles, plants, even a small mammal that we suspect is a new species.
But Angola's recent oil boom has been hit hard by falling prices, and some question if the country can really afford it.
Angola is definitely experiencing some challenges, particularly with the decline of international oil prices. This has had a massive knock-on effect to the economy of the country. And of course, issues like conservation and wildlife, they slide off the agenda faster than others. And so yes, they've had cuts, and it makes it even more challenging to grow the conservation base and success, which is what they would love to do.
Conservationists remain optimistic, saying that Angola's vast savanna could bounce back in a decade. It's up to these so-called nature soldiers to make that dream a reality.
Well, I like that. I mean, soldiers prepping to save wildlife.
That's right, and it's very heartening that on one side, in this animal-man equation, there are tremendous efforts to save animals from going extinct.
Yes.
And another, it's really scary that, again, men beating up animals like we saw yesterday, the leopard being beaten up by people from...
yes, in the NCR region. I mean, we lost the leopard that was sighted. But you do remember yesterday we also featured a story about the quagga being brought back from extinction. So, I mean, yeah, there's hope, I think.
Totally. And we live on that hope. And from the world of news, we move forward to the world of sports. Charu, do you like swimming?
Yes, very much.
And would you like to swim across the Arctic waters?
No, Satya, I don't think that's quite my cup of tea.
But an estimated 6 million people around the world will take on an obstacle course race. They will swim through cold waters, be zapped by electricity, or wade through suction mud for that adrenaline rush. Take a look.
Going through a lot of the water-based obstacles has been quite hard and quite tough, and when you've got a big group of you to try and get through them, it takes a long time and a lot of mental endurance as well as physical.
It's about teamwork and camaraderie, about doing your best, and we have people here today that have overcome serious injuries, amputations, people who've overcome alcoholism, and Tough Mudder really is a story about people challenging themselves and being the best version of themselves.
Once you've done one 10K road race, you've done the same sort of thing wherever. You've done it once, it's always going to be the same. Whereas an obstacle race is always different. So that means it's always new and it's always exciting. You don't get upset if you don't break your PB because there are no PBs. Every race is always different. So that means it's always going to be a new experience, and that's what people are after, the experiences.
Wow, that is some extreme, crazy sports, Satya. Swimming through cold, ice-cold waters, scrambling up hills, and
I know, right?
Really not my cup of tea.
Well, much as I may love swimming, but I'm very scared of the cold. And a slight breeze and I declare my winters. My mufflers are out, my mittens are out. Well, with this, it's time for a very quick break. But right after the break, do come back, because on WION Breakfast, we'll be reading the newspapers to read what's between the lines. Welcome back. You're with us on WION Breakfast. Now, before picking up the newspapers, let's now take a look at what's happening around the world.
Pakistan's brutality exposed. The Indian Army finds evidence that suggests Pakistan's complicity in an attack in which 3 Indian soldiers were killed and the body of one mutilated in Jammu and Kashmir's Machil about a week ago.
All eyes on the demonetisation debate in the parliament, even as opposition promises that the Prime Minister will speak if there's order in the House. Stalemate continues.
Ex-CIA Director David Petraeus reportedly under consideration for top diplomatic post. US President-elect Donald Trump says he is very impressed after meeting him.
Donald Trump threatens to reverse the Obama administration's historic re-engagement with Cuba. Says if Cuba is unwilling to make a better deal for the people, he will terminate the deal.
And Iraqi army says they've killed nearly 1,000 Islamic State terrorists in 6 weeks' time into a major operation to liberate the northern city of Mosul. So those, of course, were the headlines from today. But it's time now for Satya and me to pick up the papers and read a little bit more between the lines. So Satya, I would like to start today by reading out a story from the DNA. And it's a story that says, from darkness to light, fighting clinical depression and making life colorful. And I think this is an important story because clinical depression is affecting so many young people.
Oh, yes.
And it affects them so deeply. I mean, sometimes to the extent that you might actually lose them. You know, right. It's the disease can be terrible, and so it's very important for us to first of all recognize that it exists and understand that it is a disease that needs treatment and not something that you need to just snap out of because you can't. And not let it go, you know, that far. So this is an inspiring story of a young woman who worked herself out from depression into a field of creativity. 3 years ago, Seher Hashmi, who is now 21, was diagnosed with clinical depression. She dropped out of college many times, retreated into a shell, and at her worst, she would turn violent during a breakdown, even physically hurting her parents. And this week, she found the confidence to put up her paintings, which she claims is the perfect antidote to her troubles. So creating art,
yes.
You know, during the times when she was down and out, and then the very act of taking it out there and showcasing it gave her the voice that she needed, and you know, she's slowly stepping out of her illness.
Yeah, I agree, Charu. It is very important to first identify that there is, you know, these symptoms that you see of depression. I think it's very important to identify, and also to understand that, you know, it's not a taboo to talk about depression because it is a natural thing for all of us.
It shouldn't be.
Absolutely. And also to that effect, I remember Deepika Padukone, our Indian Bollywood actress.
That's right, yeah.
She came out into the open to talk about how she went through this phase of life where she was depressed. Yeah. Again, just putting it in perspective, that is something that happens to the best of us, to all of us at different times. I think it's really important to identify that.
Absolutely, and especially today when we are talking about. Remember, Satya, yesterday we spoke about the Pride Parade and how acceptance is such a big thing, and we need to be more accepting of everything.
Yes.
You know, everything that is taboo, including people who are suffering from clinical depression. Acceptance is such a big part of the treatment.
Yes, and that acceptance extends to people around us, within ourselves. We need to acknowledge that and accept that, and also people around us, if they can just accept the fact that this happens, happens to all of us. Well, you know, talking about the upside, that is of course not a very nice space to be in, but then again, there are stories of courage that are being celebrated. People have been in depression and how they come out of it, like one of the stories that you're reading out. Now, 26/11 is a big day in India because of all the wrong reasons, right? In Kala Ghoda, which is a place in Mumbai, there is an exhibition. Now, that is an exhibition which salutes stories of courage. People from all walks of life came together for the Indian Express Stories of Strength, an exhibition that featured video clips of 26 people and how they rebuilt their lives after the 26/11 attacks in Mumbai. Now, this is an article I'm looking at in the Indian Express.
Absolutely. I mean, what those people must have gone through, you know, 26/11. I've heard some of the survivor stories, and it's awful.
It is.
It was terrible for those people to be, you know, locked away, scared, hearing all the gunfire around them, knowing that people around them are dying and falling like dead flies. It must have been a terrible, terrible thing.
Yes, I mean, life must have come to a standstill for them.
Completely.
Yeah. So it says over here that the 26/11 Stories of Strength was presented by the Indian Express and Facebook. The exhibition is a series of 26 video clips featuring survivors of the attacks, some of whom lost dear ones and others who survived injuries and fear. From a teenager who wants to join the IPS to fight and end terrorism, to an octogenarian mother who has petitioned the courts for better security and surveillance. The videos are a retelling of the attacks that impacted homes across Mumbai. So, then addressing the families in the audience, Anant Goenka, who is the executive director of the Express Group, he said, "It is important we do this because it is your courage that defines us. It is your hope that renews ours, and truth is that we still live in an age of terrorism." And these stories, they're very important to recognize these stories, celebrate these stories of strength, because we derive our succor from them.
Absolutely. I remember 26/11. I remember being glued to my TV for a few days, you know, till the situation was under control, and I remember feeling so sad
and scared,
and so scared that this was happening in our country. It was terrible. Well, I think, Satya, time to turn on the bright side. And I have a story here from Hindustan Times. This is the page 1+, news that you can use. And right on top, there's a story about a robot, a Japanese robot who is not that bright. Yeah, he's not that bright. An attempt by a Japanese robot with artificial intelligence to secure a place at the prestigious University of Tokyo is over. After the bot, he failed miserably in a standard entrance exam.
Come on.
That's so sad.
It is, but come on.
I mean, he tried so hard to be a human being, but he couldn't do it. He failed the standard test, even though he's one of the smartest, one of the smartest. I mean, he's a bot. So, I mean, you know.
You're supposed to be the smartest.
He's supposed to be very, very smart. He's equipped with artificial intelligence, but he failed the standard test. And, yeah. For 4 years in a row, and now he will have to work in a real job in the industry. He tackled a mock exam designed by education publishing company, just like it had 3 years before that. It consisted of 8 tests in 5 subjects, and a score of at least 80% is said to be required to be accepted in the university, and the robot was far from the required level. Far.
In a very weird sort of a way, I'm thinking there's hope for all of us. If robots start passing all the examinations, and what's left of us?
That's true. Those few university spots that are left to us are going to be gone to bots, unfortunately. So maybe this is good news after all.
And remember, remember Small Wonder?
Oh my God, yes.
That little girl in Small Wonder.
So cute. What was her name? Vicky.
Vicky.
Oh, yes.
You know, she was a robot. She used to cry, she used to laugh, she used to play. Oh my gosh, she was like a human being.
Yeah, she was the daughter of the house. I remember. Oh my God, I love that show. I really love that show. Well, that's it. That's it from at least Satya and me for what the news has in store for you this morning. But of course, we're not done with the news just yet, because we have Christopher Daruwala, who is not leaving anything to chance when it comes to the news, as he deconstructs what's happening in the world around him.
Hello, welcome to the World Deconstructed. Here's what's been making the headlines. Yes, Donald Trump is in the headlines again. Top ethics lawyers for George Bush and Barack Obama have said that the members of the Electoral College should not make Donald Trump president unless he sells his companies and puts the proceeds in a blind trust. To which Trump reportedly replied, "Nasty men." These lawyers explained that the American founders did not want any foreign payments to the president, period. The idea behind Article 1, Section 9 of the Constitution was created to prevent the president, most of all, from being corrupted by foreign influences. Duh. What about Melania? Talking about demonetization, there were disturbing reports of flights that were reportedly carrying old 500 and 1,000 rupee notes from an Indian state to the northeast. Now, as you may know, the northeastern states are exempt from paying income tax. According to officials, the flights took place in the second week of November, and in all, about 12 crores of old currency changed hands. The operation came to light when the first shipment crashed into a mud field. Officials were at once aware that they were dealing with dirty money. Needless to say, now girls from the northeast are top on the list of marriage preferences. Foreigners unaware of currency restrictions when landing in India were in for a shock. Not only did they experience difficulty in getting money, but some found themselves out of cash. Easing the limit of money they could change to 5,000 rupees a week was too little for some, but they found innovative ways of getting over the problem. Now that gives a new meaning to singing for your supper. Japan is seeking closer ties with India. In fact, during the Prime Minister's recent visit to Japan, several strategic deals were signed between the two countries. This is because of reports that the Japanese Prime Minister Shinzo Abe has heard that he is a household name in India. He told reporters that Indians always use his name when addressing someone. Abe, please come here. Abe, I love you. The state of Uttar Pradesh has now opened Asia's first cycling highway. Starting from Etawah to Agra, this 207-kilometer stretch runs parallel to the highway, a division between ensuring safety for the cyclist. Which reminds me of the old bicyclist saying, if the traffic doesn't get you, the pollution will. Talking of pollution, it's now possible to get an hourly report on the pollution levels from 33 nations at your fingertips through a new portal which gives data on pollution levels, which is a step in the right direction. Now, not only will we get to know how fast we will die, but what is killing us. CNN is back in the news. Viewers were tuning in to see Anthony Bourdain's Parts Unknown and got to see 30 minutes of non-stop hardcore adult content. Now that gives a new twist to the title Parts Unknown. Mr. Bourdain is now reportedly suing the network to retain the new format of the program, as the ratings have since skyrocketed. The Indian male does not seem to understand that every wall or tree is not a toilet space, and there have been appeals for pissing tankers to be called back on the roads. Apparently, they found that this was the effective way of dealing with these street-sprinkling males. Hope they understand the meaning of wetting your pants. Finally, monks in India have found a unique way of having fun. no mobiles, no gadgets, nothing. Just a barrel and a carpet to get a barrel of laughs. That's what I call pure fun with no old monk around. And that's a wrap. Till tomorrow, keep deconstructing.
Indeed, Christopher Daruwala does have a way of deconstructing news. We all need some reason to dance and laugh and make merry. But of course, we would like to inform all of you that these are our very personal views and none of them is intended to harm or injure or hurt anybody.
But of course, you did know that. So we're going to slip into a short break now and we'll see you on the other side.
Welcome back. After all the stories, here is a fitness segment that I obviously was not waiting for, but Charu totally is.
Oh, Satya, we are going to turn you into a fitness freak yet. Just you wait. But in the meantime, totally taking your day forward, we bring you a fitness session where Saurabh Vij will be showcasing a brilliant step aerobics routine that will help you keep fit in just a few quick steps.
Okay, so today we got step aerobics. Step aerobic is it's a coordination-based programming which helps you to tone up your lower body, so it shapes up your hips and your thighs. But at the same time, if you don't have this piece of equipment in your home, you can simply chalk out a box with a tape or a chalk and just do the same movement inside the box. So let's get started. Everybody, keep your feet under the hips. Your knees are soft, just make sure you're staying close to the stepper. Start with the march. Yeah, here we go. Keep a good posture upright. We're going to march on the platform now. 8 marches. So go 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and 8 down. Again. And 8 down. Okay, on the tap, side to side. Right leg first, left leg first. Corner to corner. 4 more times. 4, 2, 2. Let's lift the knees. March. Now squat it down. Squat it down. Now march on the left. 4 counts up. 4, 4, 4. Let's make it 2. Easy. You can add ons. Left, right, left, right. 4 more times. You can increase run on that. You can layer up the movement. Up. 3, 2. And again, side to side. So we go left and right. So keep stepping in that box. Let's hold in the center. Squat again. Squat. Squat. Right leg up. And just lift your back heel up. So reach and back. So you stretch your calf muscle here. We start 8 marches on the left. So go 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And 4 up and 4 down. 4, 3, 2, 1. 4, 3, 2, 1. 4, 3, 2, 1. Let's make it 2 and 2. So you go up, up, down, down. Up, up, down, down. Very good. Make it a wee step. Wee step. a V step. 4 more. 4, 3, 2. Let's tap and change on the other side. Up, up, down, down, down. Here you go. Very good. 4 more times. 4, 3, 2. So guys, just gradually bring your movements, make it smaller, and bring your heart rate down. So slow down the movements. So from the platform, bring it down to floor. And take a deep breath in, inhale. Exhale, inhale. And on the other side. So this step aerobics program is really good for developing coordination to improve your overall cardio fitness.
Well, sort of which there with this step aerobics program. And you know what, Satya? I remember step aerobics really revolutionized fitness in India quite a few years ago, almost a decade and a half ago.
Okay, in doing it right now. With that, we're quickly going to a very short break, but come right back. You're still with us on WION Breakfast. Welcome back. You're still with us on WION Breakfast, and now we want to unplug you from all the hard news, all the boring things in life, and bring some skip in your step and a song in your heart. Here's all the talk about fashion, music, dance, and social media. Mobbed by fans wherever he goes, Adel Meshoukhi is the kind of singer that perhaps only Gaza could produce. He is an internet sensation who depends on a modest stipend from Hamas. Let's peep into his world of music.
On a Gaza rooftop, Adel Meshoukhi sings about cats and dirty laundry. At 32, the comedian is an internet sensation in the small Palestinian territory. His videos have been shared hundreds of thousands of times on social media. The key to his success? Jokes rather than politics.
It's a very sweet song. We're living under siege and people here are exhausted. Gazans die 100 times every day. I like to help people escape their negative thoughts. Many artists sing about the homeland, martyrdom or love. But nobody had ever sung about a cat.
Meshoukhi earns barely anything from his art. His videos are produced with just his cell phone and computer. He used to work as a policeman 3 years ago, so he still receives a modest stipend from Hamas, the Islamist group that has ruled the Gaza Strip since 2007. But that doesn't stop him from singing about them as well.
That got me in trouble with the government. They told me, these songs demean the army. You can sing and act, but don't demean the military.
Meshoukhi is often invited to sing at weddings, like in this refugee camp in southern Gaza. This evening, he is the guest of honor.
Everyone in this area loves Adele. Everybody wants to have their picture taken with him. This proves that he's succeeded in delivering his message.
Gaza is still recovering from a devastating 2014 war with Israel. Its nearly 2 million residents live behind largely closed borders, and around 45% of the workforce are unemployed. So what better to forget these struggles than to joke about stray cats or power shortages.
And with this, we come to an end for this morning. Do connect with us on WION Breakfast on Twitter and on Facebook. For now, I'm Charu Shankar.
And I'm Satya Srigandham. We leave you with weather updates from all over the world, but don't forget to come back tomorrow, same time.